Temporary Australians is proudly brought to you by Harley Davidson Australia, Fraser Motorcycles, Brotherhood CMC, Victory Motorcycles, the Australian Motorcycle Expo, Austrikes and Think Right.
Hello motorcycling world, I'm Jonesy.
And I'm Hirsty.
And this is Temporary Australians. Greg, where are we?
We're at Nepean Dirt Track Raceway, mate. It's a great place to be if you like seeing bikes thrown around at high speed.
Sorry, I missed all that, Greg. What did you say? You're going to buy me a pie? Coming up on the show this week.
We find out what it takes to enter the King of Nepean. We discover what new Old Skool means. Pauly Fenech shares a Housos view on motorcycle club culture. We discover what it takes to do airbrush art. Jonesy tests out a Suzuki DRZ 400. We check out Chelsea Clinton's favourite Olympic Harley. Piet Baird relives the acid green era. We discover why Queensland Rules. And we check out what it takes to be a trials rider in South Australia.
Dirt. It's been around for 1,000 years, and some people make huge amounts of money out of dirt, not just moving it, but riding on it. Casey Stoner, for example, rode on this dirt. Seriously, this dirt here has Stoner DNA. That's why we're here at Nepean Raceway to see the future stars of dirt. But where do superstars get their start? Well, they get it right here on the dirt. Let's go and have a look around. I love wandering around the pits at these events. There's so many different bikes and there's so many different tents. Some tents are better than others. I tell you what, this tent looks pretty impressive. I'm pretty sure that someone in here would be pretty good. I can't believe it. It's the Australian Junior Dirt Track Champion, Hunter Anderson. Hello, Hunter.
How you going?
Mate, you're doing all right.
Yeah, I'm going pretty good.
How many championships have you won?
I've won 5 Australian titles, 4 New South Wales titles, 2 Queensland titles and 4 Victorian titles.
Is that it?
That's it.
Wow, that's amazing. And tell us about your bike.
My bike is a Honda CRF 250R motor in an antique slider frame.
Okay, and in English, what does that mean?
It's a dirt track slider.
Excellent. And what's one of these worth?
The frame itself is about $5,000, the whole thing with the rims and everything. The motor's about $2,000, so it adds up eventually around $11,000.
How fast does it go?
It goes around 170 k's per hour.
170 k's an hour on dirt?
On dirt.
Are you mental?
A little bit.
And how low do you get it to the ground?
I get it to about 5 centimetres off the ground, the handlebars.
5, I'm sure you could go a bit closer. 5, you know, come on, it's that. Don't you think you could get a bit closer?
I think I could, but I don't want to test it.
This kind of racing isn't cheap, and people like Hunter are largely self-funded. When I say self-funded, it comes down to his parents. I caught up with Hunter's dad, Rod.
Hunter's ability is unbelievable. He's right up in the best of Australia, and look, we had that many people this week writing in emails and telling us he was right up there, Casey Stoner, your Wayne Gardner,
and
your Mick Doonan.
Those track stars you talk about, this is where they started.
This is where they started. All started in dirt track. But unfortunately, the big manufacturers want to see their brands on television or on publicity magazines, and unfortunately, dirt track doesn't get that coverage. I've been doing this for like 30 years, and it's the first time I've seen television in here, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you. It's good for the sport.
So he's going to hug it out now. Hug it out, mate. But then again, forget him. What's going through his mother's mind? Natalie, what is going through your mind when you see your son just waiting like that about to go out on the track?
Oh, it's pretty scary. I'm anxious, and I hope all I care about is him staying on his bike. I don't really care about the winning, but winning's a plus, but I just want him to stay on his bike. So.
When he started racing, what did you think? Bob would have come home and said, you know, I've got this vision for my son, and you would have said, oh, what, soccer or something? He said, no, he's going to go at 170 kilometres around a dirt track 5 centimetres from the ground. And what did you say to that?
I don't think so.
At the same time, you're proud of him?
Oh, very proud of him.
But just don't fall off or I'll kill you.
He's a very good boy, so
Well, let's see how he goes.
yes.
Let's just cross over right now to Nervous Mum Cat. Here's Natalie. Come on, Hunter! Look, see, you have nothing to worry about.
No, he stayed on. It's very exciting.
He's back in one piece. Let's just check the nails. No, they seem pretty good.
But who is the King of the Nepean? Does he have a crown? Does he carry a sceptre? Let's ask the clerk of the course, Greg Heatley. You've heard the questions. Who is the King of the Nepean?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow afternoon around 3:30 p.m. There's plenty of riders all here wanting to put their name to that title.
And when the king becomes king, do they get to rule the kingdom?
They're the ruler of this track for that afternoon at least, and they have everyone's... sorry.
Look, incident, it's happening as we speak. See, that's the business of the clerk of the course. You've actually got to do work.
Right.
There you go, official work. Everything okay? No one died?
Everything's right, he's up and about.
He's okay.
These young fellas are made of...
It's just a flesh wound.
They're like Super Balls.
Yeah, legs, they grow back.
Greg, what's happening tonight, mate?
We've got our new model launch we have every year for the 2013 Harley Davidsons. Our special year this year, we're Harley's 110th anniversary, mate. So the brand's been around 110 years and going strong.
Are there any special models for that 110th?
Yeah, Harley have got the serialised 110th anniversary editions. You've got about half a dozen different bikes, models available, from the Sportster through to the Ultra Classic. Anniversary colours this year based on what Harley like to call a bronze statue theme. So you've got this bronze brown. All bikes are serialised, limited edition and numbered, mate. So they're going to be very rare, not a lot about.
So what's actually happening tonight? Well, obviously the band's playing in the background, but what else can we expect to see?
Oh, we've got a few people coming in, mate. It's by invitation. We've got about 100 guests. We've got some drinks. We've got Mr. Paul Gallen here from Cronulla Sharks football. Jonesy's here, I'm sure everybody knows. We're getting a look at a couple of the new bikes. We've got two new models from Harley, the Sportster 72 and the Softail Slim. Both new additions to Harley's new old school sort of look.
We know a lot about the global downturn, but that hasn't been the case for Harley. It seems to be picking up quite well.
At the moment, Harley's kicking goals right across the world, mate. In America, figures are up, numbers are up, holding price well. Asia Pacific region, which we're involved in, is up around 16%. That's kicking some big goals, mate. So yeah, just going from strength to strength.
We're in Rathdowney in southwest Queensland. It's raining outside, but in the pub, guess who we ran into? Pauly Fenech. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a bit wet today, but you know, I'm dealing with the conditions.
You're a brave man. I'm really impressed, I've got to say.
Well, look, you know, I have to admit it. I have gone soft today. I didn't ride. I was offered a chick to jump in with the promo chicks for the ride, and I've taken that offer. It's you know, so the day's better for me.
Motorcycling seems to be a constant theme in Fat Pisa and certainly in Housos. How are you trying to depict the motorcycle club? Obviously you're taking a bit of a laugh at it, but how do you envisage what you're doing?
Well, look, you know, my thing is all the comedy I like to do, I guess I like to represent all the little weird corners of Australia. And, you know, not that motorcycling is a weird corner, but it's a corner. It's a community.
He's having a really big dig at motorcycle clubs. He's having a laugh at the perception of the general public about motorcycle clubs, and he's having probably a little bit of a dig at some of the guys who are taking themselves a little bit too serious. You know, so it's a lot of fun.
Like anyone that's in my shows, we're going to take the piss out of you. I'm sorry. So I don't care if you're, you know, 100% or 0.5%. We're going to make some jokes about you if you're in our shows. So sorry, don't come after me. I'm just a comedian.
That's Jono's brother, Angry. He's the president of the local bikie gang, the Hunters. These blokes run all sorts of scams around here.
I remember him talking about Housos years ago. He said, what do you think about this? What do you think about a love story? You know, Dazza and Shazza, you know, Western Suburbs, you know, Housos. I said, mate, you got to be kidding. That'll cream it. And when he took the idea to SBS, they went, pooh, you know, like, apart from the fact that it's politically so incorrect.
Only slightly.
Only ever say slightly, yeah, really.
With him and your dog meat.
The impression I get from people who've watched Housos is that they think that the motorcycle club there is depicted with affection. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I think it's all done in jest, and you know, I don't think it's actually even taken the piss out of motorcycle clubs or the lifestyle at all. I think it's quite humorous.
Do you have a background as an artist? I mean, what you're doing here is quite intricate work.
Mate, I'm a sign writer by trade, and I actually started off as a graffiti artist, a vandal. We used to do really, really good art. From that, I started off as a signwriting apprentice and became a signwriter.
And we've noticed a lot of people have come here for you to do their helmets. Are you surprised how popular it is?
I'm not really surprised because I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm used to it, you know.
How long would it take you to do a helmet, say like the one you're doing now?
This one is a pretty quick one. It sort of only takes like half an hour really, but generally they take about an hour, and they dry like pretty well instantly. So it's yeah, great product for all the cool people at the hog rallies, you know.
So are they all freehand or do you use stencils?
I tend to do it freehand mainly because I enjoy doing freehand airbrush art, and it's more artistic for me. Sometimes I use stencils if we have to do things the same both sides. I'll use a stencil, but I prefer freehand. If people like it, then I'm happy, you know.
When Burke and Wills and Camel set out on their epic adventure, perhaps it might have been a different story if they took something a little bit more reliable than a camel. Perhaps they wouldn't have had to carve their initials in the tree. Only the DRZ 400 was invented. It might have been a different story.
With a single-cylinder 398cc piston pumping up and down, this four-stroke thumper has been described by many as bulletproof. The DRZ is easy to maintain as well, with easy access to the sexy bits like the valves and grease nipples on the swing arm so you can lube your bearings. It is the popular choice of many, including law enforcement. The Suzuki Yellow has been known to strike fear into the hearts of many a young trail biker.
Purists will sneer at the DRZ, saying it's a heavy old beast, and I guess it is at 145 kilograms with a tank full of juice, but I can't think of many other dirt bikes that will do 150 kilometres per hour. Like, who wants to do that on the dirt? Not me. Robust and simple, the DRZ is an everyman bike, and none of those pesky crank troubles that the CRF has every 20 hours. And if you don't like Suzuki, you can just buy a KLR 400 if you want a Kawasaki. It's just the same bike with different stickers. It's like the Lexan and the Commodore. So, if you're going to cross the Simpson or the Sydney Harbour Bridge, then the DRZ 400 is for you. And that's why it's another sled we'd love in our shed.
Tony, tell us about this bike.
This is a 91 Heritage. The Harley Davidson brand, if you recall, did the running, or chaperoned the runners for the torch relay. But if you can remember those huge big stadium shops and everything, those big halls, and we had it in there, and people used to sit on it, take their photos, and would start it up. And Chelsea Clinton was there, and she wanted to sit on the Olympic Harley, and we had a lot of fun. The Olympic Games were quite the phenomenon.
Now, just asking about the paint work and the basic setup of the bike, did Harley present them like this? Were they all painted with the fishtails put on, or was that something that's happened since?
This one here ended up being a bit of a Tony Blaine special. The components of the logo, if you can recall, with the head and the boomerang legs, ended up components getting put onto a royal blue background. Ron Key did it all for us. Very, very colourful, and not normally something I would ride around on, I have to admit. I prefer something a little less, brilliant. But very, very fond memories, and these are all components of the Olympic Games, and it just happened to be a 91 Softail that I had at the time and that we used for the event.
Well, we'll ask the rider what he thinks. So tell us, is it easy to ride? Very quiet down here in Corrimal, aren't they?
Yeah, no comment. He's having a little nap, I think.
Now, talking to Piet Baird, he's the unique type of rider who's also a solicitor, which means he can talk his way out of a lot of trouble, I would guess. Is that true, Pete?
I wish I could. I think those days have passed, Greg.
Now, I haven't seen you for a while. You've taken up riding victories.
Yes, I've gone to victories, playing around the streets for a while, going probably too fast and therefore incurring the wrath of the law. I've moved to the victories, kick back a bit, cruise. Goes with with the years, I think you get a little bit slower as you get on, a little bit more restrained, but it's not to say the victory doesn't go. It goes really, really, really well, but you're not hooning around the streets late at night. You're just sort of cruising around the streets late at night.
What is it that attracted you to this particular bike?
And the first thing that attracted me to the victory was that ergonomically it actually worked for me. Long legs, long arms, it actually worked. I had a bit of room to stretch out on it. And the second thing, it's acid green 70s. How can you go wrong?
So you're confessing to what?
I'm just confessing that 70s were pretty good.
Are you saying publicly that you endorse that era, eh?
I'm endorsing the era, but not the later disco period, and certainly not the flares. But no, the victory's lovely. It's a lovely style of bike, and it's just nice to be able to cruise without going to jail.
Now, how long has Gasoline Alley been here?
Gasoline Alley has been here for 2 years, or 19 months to be exact.
And it's doing well, I believe?
Oh, it's doing fantastically. We're getting busier and busier as the day goes by. Customer base is growing remarkably. It's huge.
You've won an award.
Yes, we've won Dealer of the Year for 2012 for Australia.
Well, that's quite an amazing event for such a young company.
It takes a great team of people to create such an achievement.
A lot of bikers in Queensland, I believe. How popular is motorcycling?
Motorcycling here in Queensland is just growing, forever growing. It's getting bigger and bigger as the days go by due to a vast landscape that we have and all the ranges that we've got. There's lots of different motorcycling routes to take. So it's drawing a lot of people to Queensland, especially to our dealership, to hire motorcycles and go for a ride.
Mate, we just saw you do some amazing tricks. How long did it take you to learn to do all that?
Well, I won't reveal my age, but I've been probably riding trials for about 20 years.
So you're 23, 24?
Somewhere near there, yeah.
Now, how did you start? Was that something that you just developed, or were your parents take you into it?
Yeah, it's in the brother thing. My dad was doing trials and motocross back in the day, and I had a bit of a knee injury when I was 18, so I went from enduros to trials, which I thought was safer.
So tell us about trials. How hard is it to keep your balance and to just maintain the bike in a steady position all the time?
Yeah, to me it's the ultimate form of control. You've got to have real good feel of the bike with the suspension, the rotors in the ground, and the idea of it is obviously to ride obstacles and keep your feet up, essentially. We've just brought it to the public by making some obstacles in the shed at home so people can see it and try and get some more out there.
Well, it's interesting how keen the audience was to participate in your show today. Obviously weren't aware of what was going to happen to them, but they seemed to really enjoy it.
Yeah, you never get the same volunteer twice.
I wonder why.
I think once in the 4 years I've had an accident when it actually hurt my shoulder, but that was because I arranged it differently myself. Apart from that, we've never had an incident during our shows.
So take us through the tricks that you did today.
We started off pretty basic, just literally on the grass, some turns, some really tight turns and some trick turns. Then we get up onto the track, maybe some more stop-go on some points, the triangles, we call the shark's teeth. And then up to some mini splats and then some bigger splat cross jumps.
Are they hard to learn when you're getting up high like that?
You learn on the small stuff and then get to the big stuff. Otherwise it would be very hard to learn. Like anything, start off small and just move with it. I wouldn't have dreamt of doing this 15 years ago. And now it's kind of easy.
Well, what a day. I have certainly enjoyed my dirt track racing today, Greg.
Mate, I can't believe how fast these young kids get.
I'm still picking dirt out of my teeth. Actually, you've got some there too.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that.
See you next week on Temporary Australians.
See ya.